Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. I hope everybody's doing great so far. I was wanting to do a video to where I was walking around the park. Unfortunately, it's raining right now, so that kind of put a damper on my plans. Pun intended. But anyways, we're gonna make the best of it today. It's been a couple of days since I put out a video, so I want to put something out today, just to keep my channel relevant, just to keep you guys coming and watching more. And by the way, yes, I do appreciate your support, every last one of you. So, I'm up here in Indiana, and I've been up here for about a day. Today's my first day up here, and I came up here to look at some houses. I was looking at both houses for me to buy for my personal use, potentially. I was also looking at houses to buy for investment purposes. Now, as I told you guys on a few videos I made, I was telling you guys some of the reasons why I may leave Alabama and come back up here to Indiana. And I also told you on that video that none of it was written in stone. I might stay in Alabama, I don't know. So to help myself make a sound decision on which direction I'm going to go, on whether I'm going to move back here to Indiana or I'm going to stay where I'm at in Alabama, I came up here to look at houses for myself, as well as look at houses for investment purposes. And do you know, now let me back up. Now, I get that the housing market is still cray-cray and housing prices are still out of control. I get it. But you know what? I just wanted to see what I was going to be able to buy for myself, or buy period, for under $150,000. Every house I looked at today was under $150,000. I would say the price ranges in which I looked at houses at today went from $70,000 to $150,000. Now, bear in mind, here in Indiana, even at $70,000. Now, granted, back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I'm like back in 2019. Granted, for 70 grand, you weren't gonna buy no mansion, but for 70 grand, you could find you something in a solid working class neighborhood. A house that's turnkey, move-in ready. You don't have to do any major repairs. That's what I mean. You could find something like that in a solid working class community here in Indiana. Well, man. Well, today, when I looked at these houses, now I remind you, I looked at 5 houses today. And 4 out of 5 houses all had offers on them. Now, at this particular time, none of the offers have been accepted. It's just that there were offers on them. There was only one house that I looked at that did not have an offer. And it happened to be a house that I liked the house. However, the house did have some issues. But I was thinking, okay, well, I'll put an offer on it. Obviously, I'll hire a home inspector, and I'll point out, and I'll hire a home inspector, and I would also hire somebody else, because the issue that this one house had, there is an issue with the flooring. But I like the house, I like the area, The lot size was, it was about a half-acre lot, decent sized lot for the price of the house. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put an offer on it, and the offer is gonna be contingent upon A, how it does on my basic inspection, and B, I was gonna also hire a structural engineer to see exactly what was wrong and what I would need to do and what the cost would be potentially. Do you know that before I even had a chance to put an offer on this house, there were 3 people that have beat me to the punch and put an offer on the house? And 2 out of those 3 people put is an all cash offer, no appraisal, no inspection. They were willing to purchase a house as is. And the 2 offers that were put on this house were both over the asking price. Now, when I go look at real estate, whether it be for myself or be for investment purposes, y'all can call me weird if you want to, but it is what it is. But I don't do bidding wars. I refuse to do a bidding war. I refuse to pay beyond the asking price. Yes, I like the house. Yes, I like the area. Yes, I like the fact that the lot size was larger. However, I absolutely refuse to pay more than the asking. I don't do bidding wars, because my thing is, whenever you do a bidding war, you end up paying way more for the house than what the house is gonna most likely be worth. You end up putting yourself in a situation to where you could potentially be upside down on the house. Like if something came up and you had to sell the house, or you wanted to sell the house, you would be upside down. I mean, rather it be buying the house for my personal purposes or buying the house for investment purposes, that could very easily happen when you buy a house and you choose to participate in a bidding war. So I do not do bidding wars. Now, the other 4 houses I looked at. Now, this house I'm talking about, the fifth house I looked at, the last one I looked at, I mean, it was a house that I was wanting to buy for my own purposes. Now, the other 4 houses I looked at, there were houses that I was looking at for potentially investment purposes, which like I said, on those houses, let's see, now the other 4 houses, 2 of them had other offers on them. 1, I didn't even inquire because the neighborhood in which the house was located in was so bad that I just didn't want to deal with that element of people on any capacity. And then there was another house that the exterior looked good, but then when I peeked in the window, I saw a crap load of black mold. And also saw that pieces of the floor were missing. So yeah, the house that I wanted to buy, that was a house that there were multiple offers on. Now, the 2 houses, now let me think here. Now there's 3 houses. I mean, 1 house I didn't even bother buying, and then there's 3 more that, honestly, once I looked at the house in person, it wasn't worth the money. Like 1 house, like I said, 1 house, the neighborhood was so bad that I just didn't want to mess with it, because if I would have bought that house, I probably could have got a deal on that house. But the reason why I chose not to buy that house was because I did not want to deal with that element of people. And then there was another house, like I told you guys a second ago. It was, the floors were messed up, and the house also had black mold. Now the other two houses that, you know, as far as it goes for the condition of those houses, they were okay. Now one house, again, it was in a very bad neighborhood. So that's the reason why I didn't want to deal with that house. Now the other house, it was in an okay area, but you know, the area was so and so, it was okay. But then when I turned around, I spoke to my realtor about it. My realtor then called and she spoke to the listing agent. And the listing agent told her that that house had two offers on it. One offer was for the asking, and then there was another offer for over the asking. So I'm thinking, well, even at the asking price, I didn't think that this particular house is worth the asking price. Now the house that I'm talking about that was in the okay area, they were asking $100,000 for this house. See, my plan was I was going to talk them down to maybe 70. But when I found out that you still got people submitting offers without even looking at the house first, because all these people that submitted these offers, according to my agent, all these people are from out of town. None of these people even stepped foot on local soil. And they're out here putting in full price offers. They're putting in offers over full price, which I think is stupid. It's something I'm not going to ever do. I don't care what the housing market is. I don't care how much I think I like the house. I'm not doing it. And here's one more thing I like to point out. Now there was another house that I was looking at online. I mean, I wasn't looking to buy it. It was a house that used to be that is a house that's located across the street from the house that I recently sold before I left Indiana. And they were asking $110,000 for this particular house. Now this house was, I want to say it was maybe 1,300 square feet, 2 stories. However, the lot size was only 4,000 square feet. And on top of that, this house had no garage, no carport, small lot. And on top of that, it was located, I mean, the area was decent because I used to live over there. However, this house was located right by a gas station. And I'm thinking, ain't nobody gonna pay that kind of money, because the asking price on this house, they're asking $108,000. I think they're asking $108,000. And then maybe a few days after it was listed online, I saw that that an offer has been accepted for this particular house. So I'm thinking, okay, whatever, each his own. I mean, whoever is willing to pay $110,000 for that is a fool. I mean, this is Indiana. This ain't Florida. This is Indiana. This ain't even Chicago. But here's the funny thing. Now, I'm assuming either A, this individual came to their senses, and decided to back out because they came to the senses, or B, they backed out because maybe they got around to coming here in person and looking at the house face to face, and they're like, nah, I ain't doing this. This is a dumb choice. Let me back out. Or maybe they hired somebody to look at the house and be their eyes. And then based off of that, they may have backed out of the offer. So anyways, they backed out of this particular offer. I mean, the house was pending for, I want to say, 2.5 weeks. And then just, I would say, just this morning, the house was back on the market. It was active again. So I say all this to say, for those of you that are still out here, you're still looking to buy a house, your hopes of being able to buy a house are extremely low, and you're getting ready to do a lot of doom spinning because you don't think you're going to ever in your life be able to own a house. And I say all this to tell you guys to be patient. Be patient. Because today, an offer may have been accepted, but that person, chances are, that person on the other end might be an out-of-towner who never even stepped soil on the local grounds to look at the house face to face. And there's always a chance that either they can look at the house face to face themselves, and based on what they see, they might choose to back out because now they realize that if they buy that house at that price, they're going to get ripped off. Or B, they might hire somebody to look at the house for them, and then they'll report to them, and then based on that, they'll back out. So that does happen. There are times to where a house might be pending and then it goes from pending to being active again. In fact, it happens quite a bit for one reason or another. So if you're looking to buy a house, whatever you do, do not get ripped off. How do you avoid getting ripped off? If you're looking to buy a house, what you do is you call. You can either call your local city hall, or you can call the county. And now if you call the county typically will have records of A, how much the last buyer paid for the house, and B, what your property taxes are going to be for the coming year. So before you buy a house, before you put an offer on a house, don't just settle for the information that your agent provides you. Because sometimes the agent might know what they're talking about, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they might be telling you the truth, sometimes they're lying. So the best thing that you can do to protect yourself from getting ripped off is, if you're looking to buy a house, and it's priced at, let's say, $90,000. It's priced at, let's say, $150,000. And then when you call the city hall, and the house was just sold, let's say, 2 years ago, at $95,000, chances are you're being ripped off. Just saying. Now, there's times where, a person may have bought the house for $25,000. And now they're selling it for $125,000, and that could be because they renovated the house. Which again, as I told you before, when it comes to home renovations, be careful. Hire a home inspector and make sure that those renovations have been done correctly. Never, ever, ever, I don't care what the circumstances, never, ever, ever buy a house without A, looking at the house in person, and B, hiring a qualified home inspector to thoroughly inspect your house. In fact, don't even put an offer on a house unless you at least see the house face to face, in person, not online, not on some type of Skype, but actually you step foot on the local soil, you touched the house, and you saw the house face to face. Unless you saw the house face to face, do not put an offer on it. And definitely don't buy. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. At first, I was a little discouraged that I didn't find what I thought I found what I wanted. But then when I heard what was going on with all these people putting these ridiculous offers on and not even bothering to step foot on local soil to look at the house, not even bothering to do home inspections, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to be stupid like that. So at first I was feeling some kind of way about not being able to buy that house. And then I got to thinking, you know what, I'm not going to be stupid. I mean, if a month or two goes by and I'm still wanting to buy that particular house, if it's meant for me to buy the house, it will be available at that particular time. Another way, I was also thinking, okay, well, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to let all these people get ripped off on these houses, and then maybe in about 2 or 3 years when housing prices, now some people say housing prices aren't going to come down. I say they are, because the way houses are being priced right now, it's not sustainable. So what I'm thinking is I might just sit back and chill, wait for maybe 2 or 3 years, and then I'll buy. And what I'll do is I'll buy foreclosures or I'll buy auctions, because all these people that are buying and not doing inspections, not looking at the house, paying way too much money, and then when crap hits the fan and now they can't afford to pay the loan back, I'm thinking some of these houses, if I still want them at that particular time, I'll just go ahead and buy those houses on a rebound. Like, rather than paying, let's say, $100,000 for a house, I'll buy that same house for maybe 50. Or if I'm looking at an investment property, rather than paying 50 for an investment property, I'll grab that same thing up for 25. Because a lot of these properties will most likely make it on a foreclosure list, or they'll be up for auction because people are going to default on their payments, because they're hyperextending their credit, they're hyperextending their financial capabilities, if that makes any sense. And on top of that, they're paying too much money for the house. So when that time comes and they want to sell that house, they're not going to be able to sell it because they're going to be upside down. I don't mean to be mean. I don't mean to jinx anybody, but yeah, I'm most likely I'm gonna just stay where I'm at and attempt to ultimately find some work in Alabama. And then I'll probably revisit looking at houses in 2 or 3 years. And at that point, I think I ought to be able to snag 2 or 3 foreclosures. And again, don't mean to be mean, but that's kind of what my plan is, because you still got a lot of people out here doing a lot of dumb stuff when it comes to buying a house. So for those of you that want to buy a house right now, and you want to buy one so bad that you're willing to buy a house, no inspection, not looking at the house face to face first before putting in an offer, no inspection, and on top of that you want to get ripped off, hey, if that's what you want to do what you do. Now, if I were you, I wouldn't do it. I'll just sit back and wait. Wait for the prices to come down. But, you know, if you don't want to wait, hey, go out here and buy. Get ripped off. But I think the best thing that I could do is to sit back and wait. Wait for the prices to come down, like way down. Like I said, I can grab up maybe 2 or 3 investment properties later, buy them for maybe 25, 30,000 bucks a piece. All right, folks. It's been over 25 minutes. I know I've been rambling a lot. Hopefully you guys got something out of my rambling. If you like what I do, you can give this video a thumbs up, and while you're at it, if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel. And on that note, stay blessed. Catch you guys on the next one.